All right, I'm going to go ahead and get us started. Hi, I'm Mike Cerrone with Mastermind Agent, and welcome to the Referral Mastermind call. On this call, we talk about how to get more repeating referrals from your friends, family, past clients. We do it. This is an open session where we're going to talk about any topic that you want to talk about on how you can improve your business, getting out there and talking about repeating and referring. Again, with friends, family, and past clients. So be sure to prepare your questions. As we're waiting for folks to join us, I'm going to go ahead and start in on a topic I think will be helpful, and that is a big picture perspective on what I think is going to happen in the market, what's happening now, what I think is going to be happening over the next few months, and in particular over the next 4 to 5 months. We've got a couple different things that are happening, as you're all aware. Number one is a macro event, and that is interest rates have gone up quite a bit. They've gone up from 3% at the beginning of the year to around 7% today on a 30-year fixed. That's a 4% increase and more than a double. The big number is a 4% increase. What that does is a rule of thumb that you should know and you can talk to your people about when they're asking about how these interest rates are affecting the market, is that every 1% increase in the interest rate reduces the buyer's purchasing power by 10%. Okay, so if a buyer could afford a $100,000 mortgage at the beginning of the year, today they can only afford a $90,000 mortgage. By the way, if interest rates go down, it happens in reverse, so keep that in mind. Something to bring up. We've had a 4% increase in the interest rates, and so what that's effectively done is reduce the buyer's purchasing power by 40%. So if they could afford a $1 million mortgage before, today they can only afford a $600,000 mortgage with that same monthly payment. These are some statistics, again, that you may want to help it. Just adjust it to whatever your market is. So for instance, if the average home in your market is $500,000, you could talk about someone getting a $500,000 mortgage before. Now they can only afford a $300,000 mortgage. And that's what's disrupting our market a bit. That's slowing the market down. We don't see the appreciation happening like it was occurring before. I anticipate the market is going to slow down and start to reduce in prices just because of the supply and demand. You have less demand, and therefore prices are going to go down. The only thing that I could see that would change that is somehow if supply were to change radically in one way, and I just don't see that happening. I can't foresee what that would cause supply to adjust radically, other than maybe builders stop building or build a lot more all of a sudden. Again, I don't see that occurring. That's something you should know from the macro. That's what a lot of people are talking about. The other thing, though, I think you need to impose over that is what I call the micro, or what's happening in your local market. Your local market is going to have a seasonality issue to it. If you don't know that, you can track this in the MLS. But I know, for instance, in my market in Denver, Colorado, the same trend happens every single year. We start the beginning of the year a low. There's still transactions going on, but it's low. We're coming through the winter. That's in January and February. And then in my market, March and April really shoot up with the number of contracts that are put together. Okay, so it's a big peak in the spring, March and April, and even into May. Then the summer months, they start to come back down. There's still more volume than there was in the winter, but the summer months are coming back down. And then in my market in September, there's a big blip up in number of contracts again. I call those the procrastinators. And then it slides back out through the rest of the year down into the winter. I call it the planners in the spring. They're all getting ready for that summer move. And then you got the procrastinators in September who missed the summer move and want to get on to something before the end of the year. You need to know what the trend is in your market. But I talked to a lot of agents, and that seems to be very common throughout the U.S. because of the way that our seasons occur. You need to know what's happening in your market. It might be different. We had a resort market agent who was saying that it's actually counter to that. So it could, if you're in a resort market, whether it's summer resort or winter resort, that could change this and affect what you're looking at. That's why you got to know your local stats. All right, but I'm going to talk about the general market for a minute to give you an idea that you may want to exercise. Right now, we're going into traditionally what is the slower part of the market as far as number of transactions. Again, there's still people buying and selling. I highly recommend you get out there, work with them, because the people who are in the market right now are very motivated to get something done for their own personal reason, usually something they want done by the end of the year, by December 31st. Maybe it's a tax issue. I know some people with that. They have a tax issue going on. They want to get things done by December 31st. Maybe they've got family issues. Maybe they got a relocation issue. There's all kinds of reasons that they could have for their own personal reason. And again, that's, if these people are in your market, that's awesome. Find them, help them. They're motivated to get things done and don't care about the interest rates. But we are going into the slower season. Realtors tend to know that, so they pull their foot off the gas. They put their foot on the brake. They get ready for the holidays. Usually a big mistake. Historically, fourth quarter has been very good for me because I kept putting my foot on the gas and finding these people who are motivated. But that's what's happening. Number of transactions going down, realtors getting laxed. And again, that's an error. And here's why I think so. Because what's going to happen is January and February is going to just start to tick up, because the people who are going to move seasonally in the spring of March and April, they start making those decisions in January and February. So there's going to be a big wave of transactions that occur in March and April of the year in my market, probably in yours. What you need to do is position yourself to be in the mind of those people in January and February. Okay, and the way to do that is start talking to them now. November and December. Start to reach out, start conversations. But Mike, they're not going to move until the spring. Yep, that's right. But that's not when they're making their decisions. They're making their decisions now. Okay, so they're deciding what they're going to do. They're starting to punt things around. Maybe they're getting, because of the holidays, they're meeting family and they're talking about what they're going to do in the upcoming year. Whatever it is, you need to be the name that comes rolling off their tongue when their friend or their family member says, hey, I'm thinking about moving next year. Do you know of a great agent? Okay. Or when they wake up one day and say, you know what, I got to move. I need to start talking to someone and find out what the value of my home is, what other properties are. I've heard interest rates are going. I don't know how this affects me. I got to talk to someone that knows something that can help me navigate these waters out there. Your name needs to be popped up on their tongue. It needs to be rolling off their tongue or in their mind. Keep this in mind. Everybody has a list of top three blank. Anything that they're thinking about, top three Cokes they like to drink, top three places they like to eat at a restaurant, top three cars they like to drive or want to own, top three friends. They have a rank of everything, and they can typically hold up to about three things. You want to be the number one up there, and if not, at least number two, so you're getting the call. And that's why I'm highly recommending that folks reach out to their PCSOI, your past clients and sphere of influence, right now, and start those dialogues. Get in front of them. Use your marketing to stay in front of them. You got postcards, emails, social media posts, whatever the medium is that you want to reach out, that's great. In fact, I recommend multiple mediums. And the message should be very clear. I'm available. I'm around. I can help you with your moving needs. And then what you want to layer on top of that is a personal contact. You can reach out today, right now. It's so easy to say, hey, what are you doing for Thanksgiving? Or if you're doing a Pi Day event, what a phenomenal way to reach out. You should consider that right now. It's not too late to put that together if you're interested in it. You got Christmas. You could do pictures with Santa. These are events that people do, but you could also do giveaways, like you do just a giveaway gift card, where you give away a card to, say, Amazon for $100. So they can buy, you could call it there. I just thought of this off the top of my head. You start spitballing ideas. You could do a Christmas gift card. Buy a gift for your loved one or your friends, right? And you have a little contest of some kind where you're going to give it away, and they participate by maybe posting a picture on your Facebook group, or they just participate by letting you know they want to be in the contest, and you run a random drawing, you pick a winner. You could have multiple ward, say 150 and 25. That'll get more people to participate. More people are winners. Everybody's happy. The whole point is to reach out and start talking to people and let them know you're around so they don't forget about you. I always love to go back to the NAR study. They went out and they interviewed people who had just purchased a home in the last year. And they said, hey, did the agent do a great job? And the answer was, yeah, the agent did a great job. And the follow-up question was, great, would you use your agent again? And the answer was 84% said yes. 84% loved the real estate agent they had and would use them again. We're doing a great job when we're in the trenches. All right, the next question they asked was, now remember, these people had just did a closing in the last 12 months, okay? And the next question was, what's the name of your real estate agent? 11% could answer the question. Only 11% could remember the name of their agent, and they just did the transaction in the last 12 months. All right, people forget us. They forget our name. They can't remember. Maybe they remember the emotional part. Yeah, my agent did a good job. I liked my agent, but they can't put two and two together. They can't put the name together, let alone your contact information. And that's our fault for not staying out there in front of them. Don't let that happen to you, and don't let it happen to you over the next 60, 90, 120 days. You need to be in front of these people so that when they wake up, when their friends start talking to them and they say, I got this real estate thing I want to do in the spring, boom, they're going to jump in. Because let me bring the whole thing back around. Interest rates have gone up to 7%. We don't know where they're going next. They might drop to 5. They might go up to 9. I don't know. Doesn't matter. These people are going to have a need and they're going to move. My entire career, interest rates were between 6 and 10. They never got below 6. Okay. When I started, they were at 10. Most of my career was between 7 and 9. People did a lot of buying and selling of real estate. they did just like now. They freaked out whenever interest rates went up and they got excited when they went down, but they were still buying and selling homes. Your job is to be there when they're ready to do something. Okay. So that's my little soapbox on what I think you should be doing right now to stay in front of people. Let's do this. Let's open it up to anybody who would like to chat about what their issue is on repeating referrals. Go ahead and let us know if you've had a success in repeating referrals lately. If you've got an idea that you want to spitball with us on it. If you've got a challenge that you're having right now, you've got this mastermind group with a lot of smart people. Go ahead and throw it out. So if you've got an idea, go ahead and unmute yourself and let us know what you're thinking.
Yeah, Mike?
Hey, how's it going? Is that Bob?
Yes.
Hey, Bob.
Yeah, we spoke last week, and I moved to a new area. You know, I mentioned that to you from South Florida. I'm up in, I left one area. Now I'm in an area that's allegedly going to get hit with a hurricane in 2 days. Not as bad as the West Coast, but that's where it's at. My point is, it's a new market for me, and I'm looking really to go out and with this referral program you and I discussed with Exit, get involved with the realtors here. So I'm going to be taking a lot of the things you're saying and discussing it with them or their brokers or EXP guys, okay? And also I have something I just wondered if you're familiar with, a service called Current Matters Matter, where they send out timely information on a daily basis, and that I would now start maybe sending to expireds or send to the realtors I'm trying to influence and get referral business from, so that they can in turn turn it around to their people. Make sense?
And what was the name of it? Current Matters Matter, is that right?
Yeah, it's Current Matters. They're out of Virginia. They literally are a social media giant. They send out statistics. They send out things which pertain to the daily activity, like the macro activity you're talking about and the micro. And
Good.
you can send out all kinds of different things depending on how much you pay for the service, you know. So
well, Bob, let's ask the group, is anybody working with Current Matters? Current Matters. Anybody working with Current Matters that could give Bob some feedback on it? All right, Bob, it looks like nobody else is using that right now. I think I've heard the name, but it's not ringing a bell. I don't think I've actively used it. Here's a good thing to keep in mind. Um, it's always a good idea to give a little bit of stats to keep people updated on what's happening in the market, whether you use a service to do that or whether you pull your own. When you do the stats, then what I do recommend is you make it as local as possible. Okay, it's got to be information that's important to them. It's like we just talked a little bit about the macro and interest rates, but I definitely want to layer in what's happening in your local area. Days on market, average to sell, the list price ratio. Those kind of stats are really good. How many homes are for sale? And what you do is you want to give a comparison to say 12 months ago. So this is what's happening now versus 12 months ago, so people can understand the differentials. And if you do it yourself, you want to also include a lot of graphs. Okay, so pie charts, time graphs, anything where they can see visually what's going on, because the majority of the population is visual. And if you can give them something, that's 80% of the population, by the way, is visual. That's why we like television so much. It's like why we like doing this call, and we do it on Zoom where we can see each other's face. We like visual. So if you can make your presentation visual, whether you're sending that in a hard copy newsletter, that's what I used to do in the old days. You could send it through a digital newsletter, through email. You could post it up on a social media post. And again, anything visual would be good. Next, by the way, there are people that do market reports where they do say a monthly market report or a weekly, depends on what they're doing, but they'll do a quick video where they'll stand in front of the camera, they'll give some stats, maybe they'll throw some slides up on top, either in post editing or why they're doing it. And they're just giving, again, local data. The local information is what people want. And there are agents who have done that, and they get such a little following going, they'll get picked up by, say, a local television station to come in and become your local expert. Talk about free advertising, man. That's big stuff, right? No cost, and you're getting your face out there to a whole bunch of people. You can take that clip, you can put it on your website, put it out in your pre-listing packages, etc. So again, these things can blow up into something even bigger, but the key is go into local market stats. It doesn't have to be long, right? You could just do a 1 minute, 2 minute little update on what's going on. Here's the market update for blank, blank city. Boom. You could, if you were in a metropolitan area, you could even do it on a couple different cities. Boom, boom, boom. And you do 5 little reports, again, once a month or once a week or whatever your frequency is. And they're going to be very popular. They're going to be very hot. Okay. Does that help a little bit?
Yes, definitely.
Cool. Bob, thanks for bringing up that idea. Anything else you're working on as far as trying to get more repeating referrals? You said you're moving to a new area. Are you working a network group where you're meeting with new people?
Yeah, basically, I've been really going after new business for sale by owners, things like that, and just following up with the for sale by owners. And it's just that it's kind of slow right now in that regard. You know,
I think it's going to be huge right now over the next 120 days. If I were jumping in right now, the thing I would do is I'd go after my PCSOI. Now you're a limited PCSOI because you just moved to the area, but I go after them. I go after expired listings. They're about to be monstrous. December 31st is going to be the biggest day for expired listings in every market, because most agents, they'll put an end date to their listing, right? They usually pick the end of a month, and often they'll pick the end of the year. So December 31st is going to be a flood of expireds coming in on January 1. If I were out there, I would be lining up on that with my marketing and my approach. I would be ready to hit the phones January 1 like crazy, or knock on doors, do whatever it takes to get in front of people January 1. Because there's going to just be a barrage of expireds compared to what we've had. There haven't been a lot of expireds. That's all changing right now because of the adjustment in the market, and the sellers and their agents, a lot of them have not been willing to adjust. And so that's why you're going to do very well if you get out there and put together a program going after expireds.
How about pre-foreclosures?
I don't think pre-foreclosures are hitting hard yet, but I anticipate over the next 12 to 24 months it could. That's the feedback I'm getting from the few people I know in the REO space. That's just not here yet. We thought it would be here sooner. You know, we all thought that was going to happen when COVID hit. And then all the flood of free government money coming in kind of changed things. That's why we have the inflation, et cetera. By the way, my personal opinion, just my personal opinion, I know a little bit about economics. My personal opinion, they had to do that. They had to do that, right? Both administrations did it. You know, the government had to do it. They had to try to do something because they thought we were going to go into a depression, right? They thought nobody would be working. We go into a depression. Everything would go to, you know, where 25% unemployment is a depression. I mean, that is some ugly stuff. So they tried to adjust and they overdid it. They just overdid. They put too much money out there. And anyway, you might have those conversations with your buyers and sellers. There is no perfect answer when it comes to adjusting the economy, and unless we want to tie ourselves to gold, and nobody wants to do that since 72. So anyway, I'll leave that all alone. That doesn't matter as much for this conversation. The important stuff here is to be doing these reach outs. I don't think pre-foreclosures are going to be a big deal yet. Okay. There's maybe a little niche market. Depends on your local market. Like if you're in a market where you're small market and the big employer in the area is laying off, it might be big, right? So it could be a local phenomenon. If you're in a big metropolitan area where there's a variety of employers, it's probably not going to be as big yet because people can adjust, and the unemployment rate nationally is only 3.5%. But that's going to start changing as all these interest rates go up and they start slowing down the economy intentionally. I just don't see it being a big market yet for probably about 12 months. Could be wrong. That's my guess. Right now, I do believe expireds are going to be hot. Boom, in the next 60 days. I would get all over that.
Thank you, Mike.
You bet. I hope that helped, Bob. All right. What else do we have out there? Any thoughts about what Bob and I have been talking about, or any thoughts you would like to share? What you're going to do to get more repeating referrals, or any other topic you think would be valuable to you today? Go ahead, unmute yourself and let us know what you're thinking.
Yeah. Hey, Mike.
Hey, how's it going, Dave?
Okay. I have a kind of a question. Okay. Everybody says the target for the inflation is around 2 or 3%. This is where they're always aiming towards. Now, obviously, it's too high right now.
Sure.
But is there an optimum level when it comes to interest rates?
Sure.
Like, okay, so our market is a little bit different. And okay, you know, 2008 was a big financial crisis.
Yeah.
We were affected by it, but not that much, right? And then
not all markets were hit it the same. Yep, it's local phenomena.
And then 2017, we did this thing called a stress test. So what it said is, even though the interest isn't going up, you had to qualify for a higher interest. And that really, it didn't knock the market down, but it caused more damage for that than so far. I mean, our price have gone down about 10% only.
Good.
Now, I just want to say,
we win whether it goes up or down. We're broke.
Yeah, but there's another statistic. They said if you have $2,500 for your budget, and in US, like, okay, for an example, the 30-year mortgage used to be around 3%, and now it's 7%. So before you could afford a 750 house, now you can afford a 450 house.
That's right. Yeah, that's what we were just talking about at the beginning. Yep.
Right. Well, that's interesting, but that like in order for that to happen, there had to be an adjustment in price, right? Or else you'd have to increase your budget for your mortgage, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but remember, these things are happening independent of one another, right? So interest rates move quickly because the Federal Reserve can raise the Fed funds rate, and that throws right through the banking system super fast. Okay, the Fed's fund rate is what the big banks trade money at, the overnight exchange rate. Because they're all leveraged to the hilt. Our whole society is leveraged to the hilt, and it starts with the elite banking systems. Okay, they are massively leveraged so that when things go up, they make huge profits. But the problem is when things go down, they can lose their shirt quick. And anyway, so they're all borrowing money. It's not the old days where they went out and got their deposits at their local bank And that kept them kind of in check. That's all gone. Anyway, the bottom line is the interest rates move up fast. They move up and down quickly based on these issues with the Fed funds rate, and then of course supply and demand in the market, but that doesn't affect the interest rate as much. Your question was, is there an ideal interest rate? And the answer is no. The interest rate is going to adjust based on what is needed in the market as far as supply and demand if the Fed were not going to do anything and they weren't toying around with stuff. The Fed has a couple little dials, a couple little tools they can work with. And they're working right now with interest rates. They're actually starting to move into money supply. Okay, money supply is how much cash is out in the, and it's not true cash anymore because it's all digital, but the idea is still the same. How much cash is out there in the market floating around? When there's more cash floating around, that creates inflation. And if you suck the cash back out, which is harder to do and much more abrupt, but if you do that, when you suck the cash back out, then it reduces things. In fact, we had deflation in the U.S. Let's say it was around 2001 or 2002. It was right after the dot-com bust. We actually had a minor deflation. You know how they're trying to hit the 2-point inflation? They actually went down 2 points, freaked the snot out of them. All right, they only let that happen for about 6 months, and then they started spending all kinds of cash and money. We were also getting our deficit under control at that time, for anybody who can remember. I know these are crazy things. I don't know how much they affect you, other than they're kind of interesting, and maybe your buyers and sellers care, maybe they don't. To answer your question, though, there is no ideal interest rate.
Okay.
It's just going to float with whatever's going on in the market. And that's the bottom line, because you brought up the last point, which is pricing. What's pricing of housing going to do? Now, pricing moves slower than the interest rate adjustment. Pricing moves slower than the stock market, right? So the price of a stock could go shoot up or shoot down within seconds. That does not happen in the real estate business. Thank goodness. Could you imagine we're selling homes for $1 and then we're selling them for $1 million and we're selling for $10 million. Now we're selling for $3. It would be crazy to us. Luckily, it's more stable. Okay, so our huge, massive run-up was what, 20% a year or something? Okay, and that's crazy to us because normally it would only go up by 2% or 3% or whatever, something reasonable. But markets happen. They do that all the time where they shoot up crazy. I'm sorry, I'm trying to let people in and I keep missing them. They shoot up like crazy. The real estate's more balanced, though, and it takes a longer time to move up or down. So you're saying, hey, why aren't the prices falling faster so people can be more affordable? And the answer is the same thing. There's friction on that happening. Sellers would have to agree to that independently, one at a time, to reduce their price. And there's psychology against them dropping their price unless they absolutely must. They'll just stay out of the market and stay where they're living. Builders, that's the other source of inventory. They have the same problem. They've got money tied up in land. They got money tied up in supplies, and contractors, they have a hard time dropping their prices as well. So everybody can raise their price pretty quick if they want to. It's dropping the price that creates a little bit of friction. It will eventually happen. You've seen it in markets, right? Phoenix fell 60% in the last crash in some areas. But that was over a course of multiple years, right? It took time, a little off, a little off, a little off, a little off. And then they finally came back 10 years later. Japan, I'm jumping all over the place, but Japan, they had a massive crash after their huge run up in the 90s where their stock market and their real estate market did not come back for 20 years. So these things can happen. The point is this: people still make money as real estate brokers, whether the prices are going up, prices are going down, whether interest rates are up or interest rates are down. It's because people need to buy and sell and move. I've never heard of a market that went to zero. Nobody bothers to. There's always going to be somebody buying and selling. When it's moving up hyper fast, it's fun because everybody thinks they're making money, but not really, because the real return is probably nominal if you have inflation.
Now, another thing I want to say, it's kind of a different topic, is sometimes we make calls, right? And sometimes it feels like it's a waste of time, right? But I know it's not a waste of time because a call made is a chance. A call not made, there's no chance.
That's exactly right.
And we also know that when you talk to people, it's not usually the first time you talk to them they're going to do something. It might be the third or fourth, or sometimes you say the fifth to the 12th time. So you just got to be like consistent, and just keep doing it, because first off, what else are you going to do? and second off, I mean, some of these people, like some people won't answer the phone. Some people are actually nice. Some people are having, they actually glad you call because they've been wondering about this real estate for a while in the last year, and they want to talk about it, right?
If you don't ask, the answer is always no.
That's right, Kim. If you don't ask, the answer is
That's right. That's right.
You have to ask. You gotta ask the hard questions.
Okay, so that's my 2 cents worth.
I think that's a good point, Dave. If you talk to the top agents about what they did in January of 2020, right, as the COVID thing was coming in, there was a lot of confusion. It's something we hadn't dealt with before. Nobody knew what was going to happen. I don't know if you remember all this. People were preparing for the worst as far as real estate. They were preparing for prices to tumble, the deals to crash off. If you go back and look at any videos on YouTube from that time period, that first quarter 2020, they were saying, oh my gosh, it's all over with. What the top agents did was this. They started to make reach out calls to their sphere, just saying, hey, I'm doing a checkup on you. I just want to make sure you're okay. Is everything all right in your world? And do you need any groceries? That was some of them for their older folks. You need us to pick you up any groceries, or do you need any supplies? Or is there anything I can do for you? Well, who does that? A friend and a family member, right? These are the reach outs, and these are the things people remember. Oh my gosh, Dave reached out to me when the interest rates were going insane, or when COVID was hitting. He's a really good guy. When I have to buy or sell, I'm going to call him. If I have a friend that needs to buy or sell, I'm going to refer him. So yes, these reach out calls, they're making connection points. Okay. So the old days of hard cold prospecting, which I grew up in, right? Mike Ferry and the like, that stuff works. But it was always turn them and burn them, right? Hey, you want to buy or sell a home? Nope, buy. Hey, you want to buy or sell a home? Buy. Hey, you want to buy or sell a home? Buy. Hey, buy or sell, buy. Hey, you want to? Oh, you do? Okay, cool. Let's do it. Boom, boom, boom. That's the way they were, and that works. That's fine. If you can crunch the numbers, it will work. Eventually, you'll find numbers. But your PCSY is different. We're trying to build relationships so it will spout off business to us here and there, everywhere, whenever. Let me give you one other big idea, a little change in your concept. You were saying, hey, I'm going to call because on the 13th call, they might want to buy or sell. Right? I think you said something like that. And I understand that concept, and it's the follow-up concept. The way I look at it is not from your perspective. I'm not looking at it from the agent's perspective. I want to turn that script around and look at it from the customer's perspective, the homeowner in this case, let's say, their perspective. They're going to wake up sometime. 20% of your list is going to wake up sometime in 2023 and say, I got to move. I got to move. Pick 1 in 5 of the people on your list. They're going to wake up and go, today is the day I need to move. And now here's the question. What day is that going to be? I don't know. I know it's going to happen, but I don't know the day. If I knew the day, I would get right in front of that day. I would call them the day before and say, hey, how you doing, Dave? It's good to hear you. I think you're going to be thinking about me tomorrow. I just wanted to say hi. All right, I'm going to call you tomorrow. Okay, bye. You don't know why? I know why. I'll call you tomorrow. And they wake up, I got to move. And you call them, hey, I was just thinking about you, Dave. I understand you might be thinking about moving today. Let's talk. If you knew that day, you can make 1 phone call, maybe 2, and you'd be done. But we don't know that day. So what do we have to do? We have to be in touch with them and in front of them multiple times and frequently throughout the year, because we don't know when they're going to wake up and have that decision, or their friend bumps into them at work or at the store and says, I'm thinking about moving that, but I need to get an agent. Who do you know? Right? I mean, do you do that? Do you say, hey, I'm thinking about my car needs some work. I don't know who to go to. I'm going to go ask my friend Joe or Jill. They know all about cars. Maybe they'll have a good referral. or we're in the business, so plumbing's not a good one, or furnace, but normal people, they wake up and the toilet's plugged. They don't know what to do. They call up their best friend. What do? I got a plugged toilet. Who do I call? And the friend says, oh, you know what? Jack is phenomenal at that. Let me give Jack's phone number, right? Well, you want them to be thinking about you when somebody says, hey, I decided I need to move. Who do you know is a good real estate agent? Because I don't want to get one of those crappy ones. I want to get a good one. Oh, well, let me tell you about Bob. Let me tell you about Dave. Let me tell you about Kim, Nina, or Breck. You want that to be popping off their tongue, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the way I like to think about it, is I'm just kind of cruising along, planting seeds, waiting for them to stand up one day and go, yep, today's the day. It's not that you're going to call them up and convince them. You're never going to convince them to move. You know, Dave, it's a really good time to move. The interest rates, don't worry about it. They're going to get higher. So right now is a good time. They don't care. Yeah, I'm happy in my house. I'm living my life. What do I care about any of that? Right? Hey, Dave, there's a lot of people in the market looking for a home like yours. And they don't care. I mean, do you care, Dave? Dave, there might be someone right now looking for a house just like yours. Do you care? No, because you're not thinking about selling, right? So the idea is just to be there, be around when they decide to make the decision. You want to be top of mind. You want to be in the top 3, hopefully number 1. Okay. Now, there are other kinds of business that are immediate, and they are the kind of business that you do have to be on it, and you do have to call a lot, and you have to be in front of them because they're going to choose somebody. It's people who have raised their hand and said, I'm going to move. I am going to move. Those people are expired listings for sell by owners. Those are the 2 ones that we know are really good on the sell side. You might pick up a renter that way, but again, they would have had to somehow gone through your qualification and raise their hand. So your hot leads would fall into this category of, yeah, you better call them 13 times because they're going to make a decision. And you want to be there when they make the decision. Does that help?
Yeah. And
I like
the only other thing I was going to say, sometimes I say, listen, things are a little bit messed up in the market right now. I have a website, it might help you. So I'll text you the website. At least they have it. I mean, maybe it doesn't solve the problem, but at least they know who called, right?
That's exactly right. Anytime you can connect your name, your face, and real estate in their mind, it's a win.
Exactly.
So if you want to call them up and offer them real estate information, great. If you want to tell them a market stat, cool. If you want to tell them about that you have some sporting tickets to a hockey game and you can give them away, that's cool too. It doesn't have to be real estate. That's why the way you should think about your marketing is it's multi-fingered and multiple approach. You're going in through your postcards are going to tie real estate in, right? It's going to show a picture of houses, or your email, or your social post. These are examples. And then when you walk in, you could just talk friends. Hey, Dave, how you doing today? You know, how's Canada? I mean, how's the air up there, right? I mean, tell me something about the market, or excuse me, tell me something about your life and what's happening, right? Those are the kind of conversations you can get into when you get on the phone with a PCSOI. And the reason it works so well is then it creates that deep relationship, because who we're going to call first when we have a problem? Our friend. Yeah. And so if you can tie in real estate with friends, whoo, that's powerful.
Good stuff.
All right, cool. Who else has a comment, a thought, issue that you want us to jump on and talk about? If you do, unmute yourself and let us know what you're thinking. Go ahead, Bob.
Okay. Yeah, I've done some business in new construction, resort properties. How do you look at that right now? I mean, I think they have everyone has low inventory. Even the builders talking about, yeah, we held these communities, but in reality, they're spec houses and they're wanting you to buy and build for 10 months from now. You know, there's not a lot of inventory anywhere, as you know. Do you have any recommendations for dealing with builders or resort developers?
I know that people out there right now are finding buyers interested in building, and they're putting those contracts together. I just talked to a guy last week. So you could get in on that side and just go ahead and write out the timeline, right? you could get a bunch of contracts together right now that will be built out in 3, 6, 9, 12 months, whatever it's going to take for the builder. As far as getting some kind of immediate business from that, that would be if you can find a builder who has a spec home that can't get it sold. That's going to be your in with them, where you get in and you talk to them and say, hey, let me go find you a buyer. Tell me about this property. Why is it not selling? What we found, it depends again on your market and where you're at. You know, a lot of contracts crashed for builders over the last 6 months because the buyer could no longer qualify. And what some really smart agents have done in certain markets, I think it was Atlanta, it was somewhere on the southeast coast over there. There was, maybe it was Charlotte actually. Anyway, it was somewhere over there where there was an agent who went out and she located the builders that still had inventory. And she went and talked to them. She made a list and she went and talked to them and said, hey, you got some inventory here. Are you willing to pay a real estate commission? Because a lot of the builders, of course, stop paying commissions when the market gets hot. They've done that for the last 30 years that I've been around and probably longer. She said, yeah, not only were they willing to pay a commission, some of them were getting so desperate, they're willing to pay double commissions and triple commissions. They want those properties gone. Plus, they're willing to pay incentives. They're willing to do 2-1 buy down payments for the buyer. They're very creative. They're willing to throw in all the appliances. They want these properties gone and off the books because they've got a loan, some HELOC out there, some line of credit, not a HELOC, but a line of credit where the interest rate is going up on them because it's an adjustable rate and they're getting squeezed. They're now having to pull out of their pocket to stay alive. They need to sell this property and pay back whatever financing they had into this home. So you're going to find these motivated builders. So she made a list of these people, especially the ones that would pay double and triple commissions. Then she went out and started to do marketing to people that she thought would be willing to buy these properties if they were rent. It depended on her market and what the price point was, but she had some first-time home buyers, so she would go out to renters for that group, talk about these builders and their huge incentives and getting in. She connected a lender in the loop who could help her get special financing programs for these people for low down or low down. Remember, to make a lot of those things work, you need a motivated seller who's willing to pay a contribution or a concession for the buyer, for their down payment, closing costs, whatever. It depends on the program and what they're doing. Buy downs on interest rates. Well, now you got a motivated seller. You got this builder. So she's going out there and finding these first-time home buyers that want to buy, putting them together. And these buyers are real excited because for the last 2 years, they've been getting squeezed out of everything. Now they can get in. Not only can they get into a brand new home. They can get all their appliances. They can get all this special financing, and they can squeeze into this place that they weren't able to do before. Okay, so that's something to look at and a way to win in the new construction market that I've heard of some agents doing. Now, if the price point of the home is higher, you just do the same thing, right? So let's say that the price of the home is $800,000. You're going to go, most people buy up at least 50%, right? So whatever home they're in now, they're going to pay 50% more when they buy up. That's just been a historical issue for a long time. So who's going to buy the $800,000? It's going to be someone that owns a house that's probably around $500,000 to $600,000. They're going to be buying up into that $800,000 home. So you go market it to a neighborhood where people have that price point home. In your fast market, what you wanted to do was get you want to get your home under contract as a seller if you were a move-up buyer, and you'd make a contingency to buy the next one. So you'd make the sell contingency on the buy. Now that's going to reverse as the market comes out, where you're going to want to write on that new property and make a contingency for the sell, right? So that you go to the builder and you put the package together, and it's contingent upon this person selling their home in X number of days. The builder's motivated. They got nobody else to talk to. So yeah, let's put it together. Does that make sense?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yep.
So those are some ways where you can angle into some niches.
Thank you.
You betcha. I hope that helps.
So I was going to say in DFW where I am, the builders, people are all now crazy looking for sales because
Yeah.
nobody's buying and the interest rates are up, right? Well, they have deals, right? Even their interest rates are still at like 5.5. And it's like, holy crap. So it does save the buyer potential money if you use their lenders. And typically working with somebody, even if they're already approved, obviously, if we're out looking at homes, but I'm like, listen, I would use their lender. I mean, because they have the deals for those interest rates if you use their lender. Plus, they typically give you the incentives for upgrades as well. So, and that's just a new build scenario.
Exactly.
But on another note, I don't know if anybody in this group is in the DFW Metroplex or even in Texas, but because I don't like to give away my secrets, in my area. Florida. I knew you were in Florida, Bob.
Dave's in
'Cause you
Canada.
just
I don't
moved.
know where Breck or Nina are.
Okay. So, well, Dave's taking a nap, so we don't have to worry about Dave. Dave's like, I had enough of y'all already. I love you, Dave. That's awesome. I wish I was that person. I wish I was taking a nap right now. I look like I'm taking a nap. I haven't even done anything with my hair today. So there's, I had a coach for the last year, which I can honestly say was not really helpful. So don't spend money on a coach. Just talk to Mike. I spent a shit ton of money and it didn't really get me anywhere other than I did get some great referral platforms that were free. So if you don't know of any referral systems like UpNest, Sold.com, sign up for those in your area. Become, get your profile set up 100% and you'll start getting leads. I'm closing 2 deals this month. One's UpNest. One was of my best friend's son, so that doesn't really count, but one's an UpNest deal and
that's a referral though.
It's a referral. Yeah. Yes, it's a 30% referral fee, and yes, it's a cash deal, so it's not a big, huge house. We're in my average sale price is 300,000 and he's at 143. So it's not going to be huge with a 30% referral fee, but it's a closing and I'll take it, right?
Absolutely.
And I didn't have to really do anything. I didn't even list it. I just contacted all my investors and say, hey, go do the walkthrough, give me an offer. And they did, and we're closing in 2 weeks. It's done. I don't have to do anything.
Kim, tell us the name of those platforms again that you were talking about. You said UpNest.
I have a list. So there's UpNest. Let me go here and pull up the list Joe just sent, because you just sent me a list. UpNest, Sold.com has them too. Let me see here. Hold on. There's a bunch of them. Oh my God.
Which ones do you think that are good and valuable?
I use UpNest and Sold.com. I get those. Ojo, if you're not already in Ojo, most people are. OpCity, Referral Exchange. I think you have to pay for that one. Agent Pronto. I get leads from Agent Pronto. Of course, I don't think they're very good. I guess Redfin has a thing too. Might be just for referrals, like from other agents. You may have to pay for that. I'm not sure. Transactly is another one. I think that's a market leader, and I think there's a cost for that. So some of them do have costs, but these are some of the good ones that are free, like Ojo. They're referral based, so you pay a referral fee. Ojo and OpCity, Sold.com, and UpNest are the ones that I'm on, and it's strictly referral fee, no upfront costs.
Right.
And I mean, there's many more. I have people that have reached out to me that it's a one-time fee. You sign up and they send you leads. And I've probably signed up for 3 of them, because one was like 500, one was like 300. So I think I have 3 of them currently. And there's people are still calling me. I'm like, I already have that. I'm not doing any more of that, because the leads are in. But for a one-time fee, and they're going to keep sending me leads, and most of them are listings, I'm going to take them. It's worth a little bit of an investment there, one-time investment. So maybe on the lookout for that. My coach likes primesellerleads.com. It's $2.99 a month. It's a CRM, does have a landing page. But I'm sure that Mike's we use KV Core, right? I'm not an EXP yet, guys, so bear with me. I'm still a week or so away, a couple weeks away before I join over. But KV Core is a phenomenal platform with lead generation tools for you that are free mostly until you do ad spend. Take those classes, learn how to do it, get with Mike's guys to help you get it set up if you're not already, because that's going to bring you huge business.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Plugging it.
That was great. Thank you so much for listing out for us those referral sites for folks. If they haven't heard of them, I hope they were writing them down. What a great idea. I'm going to throw out one more idea that I was just thinking of while we were talking, and you were talking about builders. And I was thinking, maybe some of these builders might be, if they're in good shape, they might be doing their own seller financing to get interest rates down on their product so they could get them out the door, which made me think, I believe usually around 25% of the population has a home free and clear with no mortgage. And I could swear I just heard recently it was 29% right now. But there's a lot of people out there. So we're talking 1 in 4, 1 in 5 who don't have a mortgage on their home. That might be another niche to go talk to. If those people want to sell and they don't need the cash right away, they could do some seller carry financing, and they could adjust their rate below whatever the market rate is, allowing them, by the way, to get a higher price. Remember, if you ever get into seller financing is unique and it's valuable. And because of that, you can charge higher prices typically. So if the home is a $500,000 home, maybe you can sell for $550 or $600. And the reason the buyer's willing to do that is because they're getting these special terms, say a little bit lower interest rate, a manageable payment, either for the short term with a balloon or even a staggered pay. You can be very creative with the payments to help these people get in with or without balloons. Anyway, it's an area, if you haven't looked into, check out the seller carry financing. That's probably going to be an area that might have a lot of momentum right now, especially if you got somebody who's older thinking about retiring. This is a great solution for them to get a cash flow stream, keep a finger on their property. If things go wrong, they can foreclose, take the property back and sell it to someone else. That's their out. But it's wonderful for them. It's also great for the person who's buying. One last thing there. They don't care where the down payment comes from.
Oh,
come as a gift. They can borrow it.
It can be mattress money. They don't care.
Yeah, I mean, the seller could require that, but they don't typically. They're just saying, hey, let's put the deal together. So that might be another avenue to look at. Kim, go ahead.
Okay, so getting back to builders. So when I first started and when I was training agents, I don't know if you can tell, but I've trained agents. So when I was training agents and they didn't have any business, go talk to the builders, go hang out with them, go get to know them, go be their preferred realtor. Because what if they have a buyer who can't afford the homes that they're selling, but they're still looking, but they need an agent? So get a relationship with them so they can refer them to you and ask them, say, hey, if you're, say a buyer comes in that they can't afford your homes, do you have somebody that you're referring to? Could I be your agent that you would, consider referring to? You have to ask, right? What's the worst they can say? No, right? Every unasked question is going to be a no. So say no, say yes, and ask the question. So there's just my little plug anyway. Sorry.
That was good, Kim. That was excellent. No doubt. So you can go to the builder and say, hey, your leftover buyers, so to speak, your buyers that aren't qualifying or didn't work out, hey, why don't you refer those over to me? Now, when you do that, do you offer them a referral fee, or you're just giving them a back door to get rid of their leads?
We are going to have a relationship with them. We're going to bring them buyers. We are going to bring them business. So most of the builders that I work with pretty consistently. I always bring them my buyers, unless they're out of my area, because they move around. Communities move and they move, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to Cleburne to bring you my buyer. Sorry, I don't go over there.
Let me know when you come back to my area, right?
Yeah, come back a little closer so I can bring you some people. But we stay in touch and we just talk. I've built a relationship with them.
And the other thing you can do is you're talking about the referral of the buyer. If somebody's buying one of their properties, they may have a home to sell. You could be the
Mhm.
preferred listing agent for that person, right? And or for that builder and
Right.
help their buyers
Correct.
sell their properties. And that's
Mhm.
another service that you can offer to the builders.
Right.
Cool. I love it, Kim. Good point. All right, we're getting to the end here. This was a fun call. A lot of great comments, thoughts. I hope that was helpful to everybody. I enjoyed it. Hope you did too. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up. I'll tell you that this call was recorded. If we are able to get it edited and everything, we'll post it up on the site. Where that's going to be, by the way, is on YouTube. If you go to Mastermind Agent Network and you look for the Referral Mastermind calls, we post all the old ones there. It'll also be on our Facebook group, which is Referral Mastermind Call. Hopefully you've signed up for that. And you can see the posting there to check out the recording. All right. Again, I hope this has been helpful. Oh, last part, we do this every Tuesday. So you're welcome to come back, same time, same place, and participate, get ideas, share. If you're going through the week, if you're running into challenges that you want to throw out to the group, be sure to write them down so you can bring them in and we can help you brainstorm some ideas. All right. Y'all take care. We'll see you next week. All right. Bye now.